How much does a corn cost? Buccaneer.
I can't function after that. That was like a terrible dad joke. That was awful. But yet here I am laughing. Oh, God. All right. Back on track. We are a professional podcast.
Yeah. Bam.
Hello, and welcome to episode 37 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm James.
And today we're coming to you live.
Yeah, ish.
Yeah. Well, at least in video form.
Yeah.
From the Myrtle Beach Games podcast studio.
Yeah, so thanks to Myrtle Beach Games for letting us do this video with them. And thanks to our good friend Juan, who's the magic man behind the curtain, who's doing all the heavy lifting this week.
Yeah. I have a lot of stuff to grade, so Juan's editing for us.
Plus, we're a little tired from GP Atlanta, so.
More than a little.
Yeah.
I am dead.
Inside.
That might be a normal state of affairs. Yeah. I'm an adult. You're all dead inside. If you want to reach out to us, you can hit us up on Twitter at Casual Tripod.
Yep, you can find us on Facebook at Casual Try Hard MTG. You can email us, show@casualtryhardmtg.com. We've also got a YouTube channel. Basically, it's just our audio in video form, so there's nothing super special there. But if you'd rather find us on YouTube, it's Casual Try Hard MTG.
Since the new set's coming out, I will probably do a video of me playing Sealed or two this probably Thursday or Friday.
Yep.
I'll try to get one out.
We're also going to do build a sealed pool on camera for Myrtle Beach Games. We'll probably film that Thursday, so it'll be out at some time this weekend, I'm hoping.
Something for you to look at before you go to your pre-release.
Yep. If you like this kind of content, you can find our video reviews of sets. We do them every time a set comes out, every time any pre-con decks come out. But you can find those at Myrtle Beach Games' YouTube channel. That's something fun for you to check out. And this episode, we are going to kind of speed through because we've got a whole bunch to cover.
Yes, a whole bunch of stuff.
Yep. We were at GP Atlanta this past weekend. We're going to touch on that briefly, but we're going to save that for next week's episode because we want to get this Throne of Eldraine review out. So
we'll start with Magic Fest real quick,
yep,
and then go from there. What happened? How'd you do?
I did okay. My goal was to have an even record. I am not a legacy guru by any means. I know you guys have been following along with the content we've been putting out and our prep for this tournament, and I was a little nervous about it. I ended up 5-3, so a little bit better than I was hoping for. I didn't day 2, but I had a good time. Played a bunch of Legacy.
That's good.
Yep. How'd you do?
I have the most garbage record that was good ever.
Yeah.
I went 9-3-3. So 3 draws. I got 3 draws at a Magic tournament with a deck that can kill you on turn 2.
Yeah, you were playing a fast combo deck.
Yes, and I got 3 draws because I kept turning all my matches into rock fights.
Yeah.
But I finished with 30 match points, and they've changed the payout structure some. So they paid down to 110th place, and I was 101st.
There you go. How many people were in this event?
1,021.
Okay.
I did not too shabby.
Yeah.
I got to play a single match of Magic for $250.
Yeah.
That I won.
Congratulations.
So that was cool.
Yep.
One day I'll figure out how to properly thread tweets on Twitter. About halfway down my thread, it always breaks, and I don't know why.
Oops.
I'm old.
Yeah. But
I was trying to keep a running tally of how we were doing. When you start drawing all the time, you lose time to...
don't have a whole lot of time to put tweets out.
Yeah, when you're like the last match.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yep.
But...
So you were 6-1-1 on day 1?
6-1-1 after 8 rounds, day 1.
Yep.
I beat Death and Taxes, which is the Nightmare matchup.
Yep. I also beat Death and Taxes, which is our Nightmare matchup.
And then I went from that Nightmare into Mono Red Prison.
Which is the other Nightmare.
Round 9, lost.
Yeah.
But beat Mono Red Prison for $250, round
there you
15.
Go. Yep. Through a turn 1 Chandra, right?
Yes, turn 1 Chandra.
Pretty impressive.
1. So we'll talk more about that. And if you listen to last episode, we talked about our preparation for the event and kind of our new idea and way to how to do it.
it helped a lot. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so we want to kind of go through what looked good there and what didn't work too well. But the big thing that is happening is Throne of Eldraine.
Yeah, pre-release is this coming weekend. Super stoked.
We want to touch on the set a little bit. The video people might not have as much background as you audio folk.
Yep.
We're going to touch on the set, some of the mechanics briefly, and then get into some single card evaluations and things we think will be good or interesting in standard, maybe some other formats.
Yep.
The theme is what?
It's kind of like Camelot, like Arthurian meets like fairy tales meets like high fantasy.
Yeah, it is an interesting mix of things. Yeah. It's like Goldilocks and like the Three Little Pigs and Excalibur.
Yep.
It's kind of a weird mish.
Yeah, it seems like it all works though.
Yeah, but it does work.
Yeah.
And it is a different vibe than a lot of our recent Magic sets.
Oh yeah.
It is much more fun and like laid back.
Yeah, we have the Ginger Brute.
Yeah, which is just a gingerbread man running out of a window.
And he has like super haste.
Yes. Can only be blocked by creatures with haste.
Yeah, weird. Run as fast as you can.
Yeah, you've got to be able to catch the gingerbread man.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the set is a very like top-down design set where it seems like they were like, we want to make a gingerbread man. What in the little nursery rhyme about the gingerbread man
can we use to make a card? Yeah.
We want to make Excalibur.
Right.
How can we make that card? It was more like
the Lady in the Lake.
Yeah, they had things they wanted to hit or like certain like tropes they wanted to hit.
Yeah.
And so they picked the trope, then designed the card to like feed into the trope.
Yeah. The last set that we had like this, I guess technically was Shadows, but that was kind of a revisit of this idea already. The last like brand new top-down design that they did was Theros, and that block went over really well. That was really well done.
See, I was thinking like the one that always comes to mind is kind of Shadows over Innistrad. Oh, not Shadows. I mean just Innistrad.
Yeah, but that wasn't the last one though. The last one was Theros.
But Innistrad, like one of the more famous, like the kind of the most famous example of that, where they just really hit a set out of the park with flavor.
Yep.
And the cards seem fun.
Oh yeah.
Right, which is it's different. We've come off of 3 or maybe 4 sets, maybe more, that has all been like doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, ever since like Amonkhet, right?
Yeah, like everything's like the whole story is like the end times and like all these like big battles for like, you know, control of the multiverse. And now it's like Gingerbread Man and turning things into elk.
The Golden Goose.
And so it's a much like different, like less serious set.
Yep.
So
it should be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to pre-release this weekend.
They introduced 3 new mechanics.
Yep.
The first one is food.
Yeah, food seems kind of sweet. Kind of reminds me of a cross between like Energy from Kaladesh and the Clue tokens Investigate from Shadows. Food is an artifact token with 2 mana tap, sacrifice, gain 3 life. But that's not all that food does. A lot of the cards in this set interact with food in some way. A lot of them
eat food.
Yeah, like the Feasting Troll King eats food, comes back to life. The Beanstalk Giant, the Beanstalk Giant doesn't make food. What's the one that
there's? What is it called? It's 2 and a green for either for a sorcery that's sack 2 foods, make a 7/7.
Yeah.
Or
make 3
food.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of cards that rely on food to do things. There's the Witch's Oven, which you
sacrifice a creature, make a food.
Yeah. So it's
turn your children into pie.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So food is kind of like a cross between like you said, like an additional extra resource.
Yeah.
Like energy was.
Yep.
But then just like a permanent that you can interact with and has some small effect on the game. Like a clue token.
Yep. Most of the things that make food are just kind of like tacked onto a spell that was okay anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to go super far out of your way to make food. And depending on how these payoffs end up, maybe it's worthwhile even playing some spells that you wouldn't want to play just to make the food.
The food payoffs might be good enough. There's a few that are close.
Yep.
And we'll have to see if they like work out.
So the next mechanic is Adamant. What's Adamant do?
Adamant is you can cast the spell for its normal cost, either a creature or non-creature spell.
Yep.
And then if you pay color to cast that spell, you get an extra bonus.
Yeah, it's not in addition to the mana cost. Yeah. It's like as you're paying the mana cost.
So there's, I wish I remember all the card names.
It's like 2 and a red.
Deal 3?
Yep.
But if you pay red,
yep,
you deal 4.
Yep.
So there's all these cards that get this little added bonus. if you pay three of the same color.
Right.
But most of those cards are like 2 or like generic mana plus 1 of the adamant color.
Mm-hmm.
So you can cast it in its like non-adamant mode pretty easily. Like they're splashable.
Yeah.
But they also reward you for being heavy in that color.
Now, I also don't think there's any adamant cards at higher rarities, right? There's no mythics with adamant.
No.
So that kind of tells me this might just be a limited mechanic.
It might be.
And we know that we're going back to Theros next. Last time we were at Theros, Devotion was a big thing. This kind of might also be like prepping us to get ready for Devotion also.
Yeah, and if you think about like the core 20 mythics, the Cavalier cycle, they were all generic color.
Right.
Again, like trying to set you up for playing really heavy one color with a splash kind of decks.
Yep.
And then we have Adventures.
Yeah, Adventures seems sweet. They're all packed with value. There's some really good ones we're going to go over in a minute. They're kind of like a split card, like from Ravnica, except they work a little bit differently. They are all creatures that have an extra adventure mode. You can always cast the creature if you just want the creature, or you can cast the adventure side of it. The adventure side, I believe on all of them, is either an instant or a sorcery. So you cast it for its adventure, and then when it resolves, instead of going to your graveyard, it goes to exile, because your creature is now on an adventure, and then you're allowed to cast a creature from exile also.
So it's a lot of spells that are like, basically think of it as get this spell, draw the creature side of it.
Right.
So all the cards are basically 2 for 1, especially if the adventure side is borderline. If the adventure side is good and the creature is okay, card's great.
Yeah.
If the spell's okay and the creature's good, card's great.
Right.
And there's a few that both sides are good.
Yeah.
Card's ridiculous.
Right. Probably some of the best cards in the set.
Yeah, so it's gonna be hard to evaluate them until you play with them in like limited and constructed. Because we're not used to like one card giving you your 2-drop and your 3-drop.
Yeah.
Or your 1-drop and your 2-drop. Or your 3-drop and your 7-drop. So you just have this wide spread of cards that are able to do double duty in your curve. Mm-hmm. They play really well with like bounce effects. Mm-hmm. Right? You cast the adventure, you get the creature, you bounce the creature, you cast the adventure, you cast the creature again.
Super value.
Yes. So those are the mechanics. We kind of want to look at some specific single card. We think we'll either see play in standard or maybe back in older formats. Mm-hmm. And so the first thing is a cycle of mythic artifacts that are tied to the castles of each color of Magic.
Yeah, each in this set, each like race or realm or whatever you want to call it has their own castle, and each castle is kind of used as a powerful artifact.
Yeah.
One's supposed to be the round table. And
yeah. The first one is the white one. It's Circle of Loyalty. Mm-hmm. So all these artifacts have really high casting costs.
Yeah.
But they get some cost reduction for something, again, associated with the castle. So Circle of Loyalty is 4 white and costs 1 less to cast for each knight you control. Whenever you cast a legendary spell, you get a knight, a 2/2 knight. All your knights get +1/+1, and you can pay 3 and a white and tap this to make a knight.
Yeah, sounds like this card just kind of explodes in a knight deck, huh?
Yeah, like play a couple knights, and like on turn 3 or 4, you get like a Benelish Marshal that just makes other Benelish Marshals. So it seems like you can get away pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It is a little rough if like your guys get Wrath. Like if your opponent's like, Kaya's Wrath, bounce your thing with a Teferi, then you like never cast it again.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward.
You know, if you get out in front of someone, like just the extra power you get, and if they can't get rid of the artifact, get to slowly reload. You are on one hand wrath proof because you can just remake your guys. Mm-hmm. But if it gets bounced, then it's just harder.
Yeah, it's tough to get back down.
But that one looks like if there is an aggressive like Knight stack, this would be like kind of the top. And like the dream is to like on like turn 4, you have 4 knights out and you play that for 2 mana. Yeah. And then you're just super far ahead.
I mean, even if you're playing it for 3 mana, I think you're pretty happy with that. Yeah, if you go like 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop. The next one is the Cauldron of Eternity. It's 10 black for its casting cost. Mm-hmm. It costs 2 less for each creature card in your graveyard.
Yes.
So it's kind of promoting like a self-mill or sacrifice strategy.
Yeah, and they definitely that's like supported in the limited environment, like a mill strategy.
Yeah. There is a drawback. It says when a creature you control dies, put it on the bottom of your library so you don't get to like use things that are already on the battlefield. So it's definitely better to self-mill with this than it is to sacrifice.
Yeah.
The real ability, the one that you're playing this for, is 2 and a black tap it and pay 2 life to return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Yeah.
You can only activate it as a sorcery, but typically this effect comes with either sacrifice at the end of the turn or exile it at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
And you don't have that here.
Yeah, so you just get big thing. Villa's Broker of Blood.
Yeah.
Right? When you bring him back, the next thing you bring back,
you draw 2 cards.
You draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some creatures that will pay you off.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some lists of people trying things right now that are like just blue-black.
Yeah.
That like in blue has a lot of ways right now to like mill yourself. Something we'll talk about later lets you cast artifacts from your graveyard.
Right.
So if you do mill this, there's a way to get it back.
Yep.
Get to like turn 5 and you get to play it for black.
Oh.
And then activate it.
Yeah, you're golden.
Yeah, you're great.
Yeah.
Like now,
your turn 5 is put this in play and reanimate a Villas.
Good game.
Yeah.
Good game. Good talk, everyone. This card is similar to Whip of Erebos from the Theros block. That was 2 black to activate, but it also gave all your creatures lifelink.
Yeah, and that was kind of a big deal with that card, and there was no life loss attached. But,
yeah, it was just...
So that makes me a little nervous about the playability of this. But, I mean, Whip was great. It was a whole archetype.
This could definitely could be something that is really powerful.
Yeah.
And there's, I think, a lot of different ways right now that you could build this kind of deck. In Standard, we have all the Golgari cards that milled things.
Close Four Shaman, stuff like that.
Yeah, that have kind of not seen a lot of play.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we lose Stitcher Supplier.
We do. Can't have all the nice things.
Yeah, but I want all the nice things.
So do I. And then we have the Greathenge.
Yeah, I think this one's my favorite.
We'll see. There's too much of this effect, I almost feel like.
There probably is.
So,
and, like, the other times that we've had this effect, like, it hasn't been great.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the Greathenge is a 7 green, and it costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control.
Yeah, so if you have a 4-drop out, I mean, not 4-drop, you have a 4-power creature, this costs 3 green.
Right.
If you have a big 7/6 dinosaur, this costs green.
Yep.
Tap, add green, gain 2 life.
Yeah, that's great.
That is great. And whenever a non-token creature you control enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on it and draw a card.
Yep, that's also great.
So if you could play Henge with the Cauldron, you could tap the Henge and gain 2 life, tap a swamp.
There you go.
Bring back a creature.
Put a counter on it and draw a card.
There you go. So if you just have a pile of mythics that you can like...
Combo wombo.
There we go. We did it.
Yep, let's go.
Did it. It's, just standard wallet. You just throw your wallet on the table and see whose wallet has more money in it.
Yeah, that was a deck at one point, right? The Grixis wallet.
Yeah. Grixis Mythics.
Yeah.
So that's the cycle of legendary artifacts. The red one, less good. The blue one seems like it's not going to be super playable.
Yep. Oh, you're all out of
work. I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll figure it out. For the audience at home, we got back at 1 o'clock in the morning from Atlanta. James drove the whole way, so I didn't really do that much work. I did stay awake so he didn't fall asleep and kill us all. He got to just go home and sleep. I had to go to work and give 3 exact tests.
Well, I mean, I didn't just go home and go to sleep. I had an episode to prepare.
This is fair. Fair.
I didn't sleep all day, just till like 8 o'clock.
I woke up at 6:30.
Yeah.
I'm a little out of it. I'm all hopped up on regular Dr. Pepper.
Regular Dr.
Oh
Pepper.
my God. We have a rare cycle of lands.
Well, +1.
+1?
Yeah. We have a rare cycle +1.
Fair.
Yeah, I just lumped kind of all the rare lands together and figured we'd all talk about them at the same time. So the first one is the +1. It's a Fabled Passage. It is just a land. It has tap, sacrifice Fabled Passage, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. Then, if you control 4 or more lands, untap that land.
Yeah, so it's kind of better Evolving Wilds.
But worse fetch land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in the middle of between Evolving Wilds, which is like blatantly unplayable.
Well, I mean, there's been points where Evolving Wilds is playable in Standard.
Yeah, but they're few and far between. They're usually like synergizing with other things. Like there was a point where like the blue-black control decks would play Evolving Wilds to turn on their fatal pushes.
Right.
But just like, I need to fix my mana with an Evolving Wilds typically doesn't happen.
Not really where you want to be.
But since our cycle of rare lands in this set aren't dual lands, there's not good fixing for like even 2-color decks or a lot of the color pairs.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I do feel that this is going to be the backbone of a lot of mana bases.
Yes, it's going to have to be.
At least until we get some more lands.
Yeah, a thing to keep in mind is even the decks that are going to have good mana are going to have 4 shocks, 4 temples, which come into play tapped.
Yeah.
And for the first 3 turns, if you have a Fabled Passage, that land's going to come into play tapped.
Yeah.
All of those things together kind of lead you to a place where maybe the aggressive decks end up having to be a little bit slower that are 2 colors, because on the early turns, a lot of their lands are going to come into play tapped.
Well, I mean, it probably leads to a place where the aggressive decks are not 2 colors.
Yes, they have to be monocolor.
Yeah, and it also kind of pushes the mid-range decks a little bit more mid-range than they traditionally would be. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, it may change a lot of the format. Like we got spoiled with Gruul having great mana. Well, Gruul has like mana now.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, and Red-Black has had great mana, and now it's going to have like mana. But yeah, I think that this card is going to be kind of the glue that holds all the 2 color decks together.
Yeah.
Notice we haven't said 3 color decks because I don't know how good that mana is going to be, if that can work at all. All right, so the next type of card we want to talk about is Planeswalkers.
Yep.
There are 3 Planeswalkers in the set.
We're going to talk about 2 of them.
Hopefully we've not been horribly wrong.
I don't think we're wrong. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. So the first one I think might be standard defining.
It could be. It definitely has the potential to be.
And that's Oko, Thief of Crowns.
Yep.
So it's 1 blue-green for Planeswalker Oko.
Yep.
With 4 starting loyalty.
That's pretty big.
Plus 2.
Yeah. Goes to 6.
2. Goes to 6. Create a food token. So worst case scenario, this card kind of reads like gain 9 life because you get the 6 from them trying to kill your Oko plus the 3 you get from the food.
Yeah.
That's good. And then plus 1. So that's the second plus ability. You heard right. Turn an artifact or a creature into a 3/3 elk.
Like the food you just made.
Now it doesn't destroy the creature.
Right.
It just
makes it an elk.
It turns it to elk if that were a card. Like the frog, the card like turned to frog, or it makes it a 1/1 frog. This just makes it a 3/3 elk. So you can go plus make a food, turn my food into a 3/3. Or there's the what's the Dreadhorde Invasion trick?
Yeah. You turn when every upkeep you lose a life and put a counter on a zombie army you control. If you don't have a zombie army, you make one and put a counter on it. With Oko, you turn your 0/0 zombie army into a 3/3 elk that still keeps the 1/1 counter.
And is no longer a zombie army.
So you make a new one next turn?
Yeah, so you just like have infinite 4/4s.
Yeah, every upkeep for 1 life.
Yeah, pay a life, make a 4/4.
Yep.
Tick up my Planeswalker.
Seems good.
How could Oko protect himself? You can -5 Oko, and you can switch possession of an artifact or creature you control for a creature your opponent controls with power. So the reason I think this could be like format defining is it really kind of like blunts aggro.
Yeah.
Right? Because even if you play this on turn 3, you're like, plus my Oko. Now you take their 3-drop the next turn if you have any kind of board to like protect Oko. Or if you Golden Goose to get Oko out on turn 2, like if you're on the play, they can't play a 2-drop because you take it. If they don't play their 2-drop, then you just play a 3-drop or a 4-drop, and then you take their next creature, and they just can't ever get ahead. So it seems like it could like just put a boot on like small creatures in the format because you just get 2 for 1.
Yeah, no, this is a -5, so it's not something that you're probably going to have to worry about like more than once, but it is going to influence deck building decisions.
Yeah, like the first time they like plus make a food, they have the next turn switch.
Right.
And now if the game's slowed down and you don't have like a way to pressure Oko, plus do it again. Now there's a particular 3-drop that gets around this little problem of having 3 power.
We'll come back to that in a little bit. The next Planeswalker.
This is your boy, go nuts.
This is my boy, Garrick Cursed Huntsman. 4 black-green for a Garrick Planeswalker with 5 loyalty. And we have kind of returned to the old like templating for Planeswalkers.
Okay.
Where the first ability protects itself, the second ability gets you some sort of card advantage, and the third ability wins you the game.
Yes.
So Garrick has a 0 ability, not a plus ability, where it reads, create 2/2 black and green wolf creature tokens with, when this creature dies, put a loyalty counter on each Garrick you control.
Yes.
We only have 1 in standard, but there's a bunch of others.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
It has a -3 of destroy target creature, draw a card, and it has a -6, so only 1 more than starting loyalty. You get an emblem with creatures you control get +3/+3 and trample.
The idea is you can make a wolf army, force them to have to kill a wolf, and then that lets you activate your Garrick.
Yep. You also have the Night Pack Ambusher, which buffs wolves.
Okay,
So it kind of makes your opponent have to deal with your basically free 3/3s every turn.
Yeah, or play Crafter, sack your own wolf so you can activate your 2-for-1 them.
Yeah.
So you can activate your Garrick.
I mean, to that extent, you could play Priest of Forgotten Gods too.
Yes, you could.
Sack 2 wolves, put 2 counters on Garrick, make them sack a creature, draw a card, couple mana.
And then you get to keep your Garrick.
Yeah.
There's a third one that's blue and red. Didn't make the list yet.
I didn't include it in the list because I didn't think it was fantastic, but as we're doing this podcast, I remembered something that I wrote later in the episode, so
we'll circle back.
Maybe we'll circle back to that one.
So we talked about there's castles.
Yep.
Every castle has to have a ruler. Oh, man.
Yorvo.
Thank you.
Yeah. He's the Lord of Garenbrig. He has keyword big.
Yes, he's just big.
Yep. He costs green, and he's a 0/0. So
that's not keyword
really
big.
that big. But he enters the battlefield with 4+1/+1 counters. And then whenever a green creature enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on him. And if that creature had more power than Yorvo, you put another +1/+1 counter on him.
Because Yorvo does not want to be smaller than anyone.
Right, yeah. Yorvo just wants to be big. Keyword big.
Is this good enough for standard is the question. Steel Leaf Champion was?
For a brief minute, yeah.
Yeah, but it had one more power and some form of evasion.
Yeah, this does not.
Yeah, this guy just gets chumped by whatever idiots are on the other side of the battlefield.
Yeah, he gets chumped by the goblin that the red land made that they didn't put a card into.
Or the ones that the white land makes, and then you feel sad. If there's a green stompy deck, if just big green idiots is good enough, he's probably good enough.
He is a big green idiot.
Now here's a big red idiot. What do we call this guy?
His name is Torban Thrain of Redfell.
That's not his name.
No, I call him the Big Angry Dwarf.
Big Angry Dwarf. He's bad.
He's
a bad man.
He is a bad dwarf. Yeah.
Big Angry Dwarf.
Yeah. So he costs colorless and then red for a 2/4, which kind of doesn't sound great. But then you read his text, and it says, if a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much +2. So he's really a 4/4.
He's really a 4/4. The reason you can tell this card is all the other ones are color. They had to throw an extra mana on him.
Yeah.
Because I think they play tested him and were like, oh, we done messed up.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people in play design were dying on turn 4.
Yeah.
And they were like,
well, this had to be in development the same time Modern Masters was, right? So Tom Ross worked on this set?
Yeah, so perhaps he just killed a bunch of people on turn 4.
I'm sure he killed a lot of people on turn 4. It's not out of the realm of possibility or even hard to, what do we figure out, 18 damage on turn 4?
With him costing 4.
With him costing 4,
With him costing 3, it's just nuts. But if you have the Sword Spitter or something.
Yeah, Sword Spitter, yeah.
Deals 1 when it attacks.
Yep, and then Cavalcade.
And then
Chandra,
and then this guy, you attack and you get 4 triggers from your Cavalcade.
Yep, that each do an extra 2.
Well, 3 triggers from your Cavalcade plus the trigger from the Spitter.
Right.
So they each do 3 total.
Yep.
That's 12.
Right.
And if any of them connect, they connect for 3.
Right.
Yeah, you're dead.
Dead. DED dead.
Dead. At 3 mana, this at red just would open up untap on turn 4, shock you.
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just oh, cool.
Ends.
You had 3 burn spells and I died.
Yeah.
This could be really good. I am a little dubious of red strategies. I was maybe proven a little wrong with Cavalcade decks. If there's a good red strategy, it's because of this guy.
Yeah.
This guy's why the red decks will be good.
Yep, I think so too. The only awkward thing that I can see is that normally your 4-drop slot in red wants to be a way to get you back in the game.
Yeah,
if you've kind of petered out.
He wants you to have board presence or some way to utilize him. Yeah, he's not going to catch you up. He's not a Chandra or some army in a can. Yeah, a frenzy.
So the next one is Ayara?
Sure.
Yeah. She's the first of Lochthwain. It's black for a 2/3. Whenever Arya or another black creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. And you can tap it and sack another black creature to draw a card. I think the card's fine. I don't think it's anything fantastic, but it's fine.
Garrick makes black wolves, right?
It does. Yep.
So there you go. There's another way to put something on Garrick and draw a card.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems fine. It's rough that it limits you to black creatures.
Yeah, I mean, it costs black anyway, so you're probably not going to jam it in
Like
a
in
three-color deck.
in your Chandra deck with like your black, red, garbage mana deck.
Right.
So then there's Gatwick, the Wizened.
Yeah, and you kind of like this one, right?
Yeah, so it's blue, X.
Yeah.
For a 3/3.
What's the X do?
The X draws you cards.
That's it?
You draw cards equal to X when it enters the battlefield.
All right. But it doesn't affect the creature at all.
No,
so
he's just a 3/3.
There's no X counters. There's no...
Nope, he's just cards.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's weird.
It's just all the cards.
Well, I mean, cards are good, but that's, like, strange.
Yeah, it is strange that there's an X that doesn't do anything to, like, the actual creature. Because we're used to, like, Hydras or various robots that are X that come in with X counters.
Yeah.
He just comes in and gives you X cards.
Mm-hmm.
And then has, I guess, almost trinket text, but you'll probably lose games to it.
Yeah.
Whenever you cast a blue spell, tap target non-land permanent and opponent controls. I was looking at this as, like, extra Hydroid Crasises.
Kind of. It's not gonna close a game like a Crasis will.
No, but, like, there's a lot of times where you play, like, your blue-green ramp deck, and you just need to, like, draw 3 cards to, like, have a hand again.
Yeah.
And you've, like, had to cast a Crasis for 2 to draw a card, so you had a body early on, and then you had to... And, like, you've just not got to, like, your 3rd Crasis that you needed.
Yeah.
And just having, like, Crasis really maybe, like, 5 and 6 to just refill.
Maybe just 5. I don't know if it wants...
That's, like, 1. But
well,
just...
Like, the Crasis, it has more text than just refilling your hand, though.
It does.
Like, the life gain is super important.
It does.
And this doesn't...
But this does, like, get you to your next one.
Yeah.
Right? It can be a bridge of, like, I can pay... Where, like, a Crasis that was a 4/4 that gained 2 and this would draw an extra card. Right? So it just gets you a little bit deeper. So it might see play in small numbers in those kind of decks as a way to refill. It does have the problem that it can get countered, where Crasis, you get the cards... Regardless.
Yeah.
And then this last one, I don't know who wants to play this card.
Yeah, me neither. It's bad.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
It's Linden, the Steadfast Queen. White for a 3/3 with Vigilance.
Yep.
And whenever a white creature you control attacks, gain a life.
Yeah, guess what you don't want to do in your white aggressive deck? Gain life.
Yeah.
You want to dead people.
Well, I mean, like, a Johnny's Pride Might's still in the format. And new Johnny still makes...
Fair, but, like, I don't know if you're about that.
No, I don't think so either. But
yeah, I mean...
Like, you're definitely not taking your 3rd turn off to do this, I don't think.
Well, I guess the only thing is that it's an attack trigger. So you attack with your Johnny's Pride Mate, it's a 3/3.
Yep.
You could help sizing-wise. It means that a Johnny's Pride Mate has to be good.
Right.
There's that, like, brief window where for one tournament, a Johnny's Pride Mate was good.
Yeah.
And then people went like, oh, wait, this is a draft uncommon? Yeah, it seems weird. It doesn't seem like, you know, if it was... I guess I couldn't print Banalish Marshal again. Like, that's what a white aggressive deck wants, is they want Banalish Marshal.
Yeah, they want some sort of Lord.
Or they want, like, all your creatures have Indestructible.
Yeah.
This competes at, like, 3 mana with, what was the rare addendum? Like, your creatures +1/+1 and Indestructible.
Unbreakable Formation?
Yeah. Right? Like, you would almost rather have
I think
Unbreakable
I'd almost
Formation.
just rather have that.
Yeah, so she has competition for a spot in a deck.
The next thing here is what I have dubbed the Tempo Twins.
Yes, these cards are great.
They are both great and might make me want to play Islands.
Yeah, like I came up with just an observation on the way back, and we were like, oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
So we have BrazenBorrower, which is a mythic, and it's 1 blue for a 3/1 flyer.
Flash.
Yep. It can only block creatures with flying.
Who cares? You're
going to be attacking with this guy.
Yes, 100%.
And then it has an adventure.
Return target non-land permanent and opponent controls to its owner's hand.
It is your 2-drop and your 3-drop.
Yep, it is Clearway and...
It's like if you could play, like, Disperse.
Yeah.
But Disperse said draw a 3/1 flash flyer.
Right.
Like, every single time you cast Disperse.
Yeah.
Your play pattern could be, like, on the play, your opponent plays a 2-drop, you bounce it, or at the end of their next turn, you play a 3/1 flash flyer.
Yeah, you leave counter magic up and then play a 3/1 flash flyer at the end of their turn if they don't do anything.
And if they do something, you use your counter magic. Or you kill it with the other card.
Yeah, this one's my favorite. A Bonecrusher Giant.
The art is just a giant literally stomping on someone.
Yeah, it's great. In the storybook frame or whatever, the alternate art is even better.
Okay.
Because it's like the foot coming at you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's great. It's 2 and a red for a 4/3. It says whenever it becomes the target of a spell, Bonecrusher Giant deals 2 damage to that spell's controller.
So kill it, they take 2.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily even kill it. Like, anytime it's targeted.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, I would hope that your opponent was not just like...
Well, right, but like if they have to tap it or something.
Yeah, fair.
Or even if like somebody bounces it with a Brazen Buccaneer.
A BrazenBorrower?
That's what I meant. Yeah, BrazenBorrower.
We went back to Ixalan. I was like, what?
There's Robin Hood in here somewhere.
He's
a Buccaneer, kind of.
But he has an adventure, which is Stomp. I was so high on like Robin Hood as Buccaneer. A man who's never been on the ocean his entire life.
Whatever.
A dude who rides a horse with a bow and arrow. Pirates.
I mean, he was kind of a pirate, though, just without a boat.
Sure, he was the Jack Sparrow of the trees.
I mean, he was, though.
There we go. Okay. Stomp. One of the red, instant.
Yep.
Deal 2 damage to any target.
Damage can't be prevented.
Damage can't be prevented.
Not just its damage, like any damage.
Yeah, damage can't be prevented. One of the 4 abilities that protection gives you.
Yeah.
Your opponent has a creature that has a Cerulean Drake, right? And you have another Bonecrusher Giant, and you attack. And they're like, I want to block your Bonecrusher Giant with my Cerulean Drake. I'm so smart.
Yep.
And then you play Stomp, and you hit them for 2.
Right.
Now Cerulean Drake's protection doesn't prevent damage.
Super dead.
You kill it.
Yep.
Or you kill their other 2 toughness creature, and then you can get their Drake as well.
Yeah.
Right? So it gives you an out to turn off protection in certain spots.
Yep.
Which is kind of the big thing it's for. And if somehow we have some garbage fog deck, you can't fog be full.
That is correct.
So Bonecrusher Giant does the same thing as BrazenBorrower.
Yeah, where it's your 2-drop and your 3-drop.
Right? Like adding 1 mana to shock to always draw a 4/3.
Absolutely.
Is great.
100% of the time.
Right? If the card was 1 on a red, deal 2 to any target, search your deck for a 3-mana 4/3, you would play that card 100% of the time in your red deck.
Well, but it's a 3-mana 4/3 with upside.
Yes. Yeah, it's not even just a vanilla.
Yeah.
Like these 2 cards together.
And you would play just 2 in a red, make a 4/3 with, when it gets targeted, shock the controller. Like even without the option to shock something.
So this
beforehand.
is where the Bonecrusher Giant is where both sides of the card are good. Like you could say that Stomp it's overcosted compared to shock.
I mean,
but it's
slightly
close.
though. Like Skullcrack is 1 more damage
and does kind of prevents life gain.
Yeah.
But it's close. It's like right at the edge of standard playable, and Bonecrusher Giant is standard playable. And so it makes the card very powerful.
Right.
So we were talking about like these 2 cards together.
Yeah.
Blue-red has the Temple, and it has a Shockland. You've got 8 duels, and so you have this spot where you have your 2-drop and your 3-drop rolled up in 2 4-ofs.
Yeah.
Like you were never going to run out of card. You're always going to have something to do.
Something relevant.
And so, you combine that with a few counter spells, some shocks, and you end up with a deck.
Yeah.
Kind of like the blue-green decks we've had, but instead of Frilled Mystic, you just punch people in the face.
I like punch people in the face.
And it's anger issues, but whatever, man. There we go. Send someone to do your dirty work. I see how it is.
Don't get my hands dirty.
Well, it looks like we went a little long this time.
Yeah, we have that effect on people.
We do. So we'll be back to finish up this episode here in a bit.
Yep, we'll see hopefully in a minute or 2.
On the YouTubes.